So now I can tell you a story, a true story of working with Natasha Lyonne. We'll just get right into it. So Natasha Lyonne, the actor, is the star of my first and only feature film, All About Evil. And we were doing a screening at the Castro Theater, sold out screening, of actually a movie called But I'm a Cheerleader that she also stars in. And I love Natasha. Natasha and I get along great, but she's intense and she likes things. Can you guys hear this?
Guys, backstage, chill!
That is so unprofessional.
Jesus Christ, we're filming!
So she and I have done a lot of shows, but like any show people, you know, you get like sort of intense before you go on. And so we gave each other a hug, I did the opening number. We had this scenario where I was introducing her. She comes out, sits in this chair, falls right through it. Like, and she looked at me like, you did this.
I'm scared.
And I thought, I'm gonna just die right here. I was like, I didn't do it, I swear. Because, you know, I like to play practical jokes and stuff, but I would not have done that. Somebody else did.
I need Amber to check these screws now. What did you do? Before the show, you're just back?
Yeah, that's my story.
Oh, thank you. Well, welcome, Peaches Christ.
Thank you.
Love the gift of gab here. We're having a good time here at the View. I need a big coffee mug. So I'm keeping it just willy-nilly, just having a good time, off the cuff. I was about to write some shit, and I'm like, it never works. So, my first question was gonna be about Natasha, so. What's the,
I mean, that's not really much about Natasha. I'll say this. She was a professional and amazing and, you know, was there for the movie every day. Super, super hard worker, obviously incredibly talented, and she loves old movies, and it was a joy to work with her. And she was always my number one choice for All About Evil, but I actually didn't think I would get her. You know, I just didn't think it was gonna happen. So Natasha ended up replacing someone else that I was.
Yeah, was that the first choice?
Natasha was always my first choice, but I just, you know, she'd been in like American Pie and like big Hollywood movies, and But I'm a Cheerleader and Die Mommy Die, Party Monster. Like, she was a big star, and it was my first movie, and the censure was that the director of photography of All About Evil, Tom Richmond, he shot a movie called The Slums of Beverly Hills, which stars Natasha. And so Tom actually called her on the phone and was like, I want you to meet this director I'm working with, Peaches Christ. And she had seen me in a show in New York, and we got on the phone, and I asked her if she would read the script, and she did. And then she was out in San Francisco like a week later.
Wow.
Yeah, it happened very quickly.
My big question, it honestly is like, how did you make that transition from from stage to getting into film?
Well, I actually started more in film. I was a film student. Even though I did stage stuff all through like high school and things, I was the kid who made movies in the neighborhood growing up. I always was, making little movies and doing stuff like that. So Midnight Mass, being Peaches, all was a way for me to celebrate my love of movies. It just was that making movies it's hard and expensive, and once I was like Peaches Christ and performing in San Francisco a lot, I kind of gave up on my dream of making a feature film. And so I made these dumb drag queen short horror movies and would screen them at the Midnight Mass shows I did. And what happened was, actually this is a Dallas, Texas connection. A very wealthy man from Dallas, Texas, an extremely wealthy man, called me out of the blue and said, hey, what's this Midnight Mass thing you do up in San Francisco? His name is Mark Cuban.
I thought you were going to say President Bush.
No. Can you imagine? And he was like,
hey, Peaches.
You're going to hell. Click. So Mark Cuban actually financed and produced a TV show of Midnight Mass for his HDNet network. And that was the first time where I really thought, wait, I can be Peaches Christ and this billionaire will finance a TV show for me? Amazing. And that kind of gave me the faith to think I could make a feature film with a real budget. And so then I went back a few years later and asked Mark for $1 million, and he turned me down. And he said, which was lovely, you're gonna make this movie, you have what it takes, you'll make it, and when you finish making it, come back to me and I'll help you with distribution. So Mark has been a real amazing, supportive person. I don't know what his reputation is like in Dallas, but
hey,
is he? know.
Fantastic.
You guys can tell me about Mark later. He's rich. Eat the rich.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly.
Except he gave this drag queen money, so I'm grateful to Mark for that.
Just take a little rump roast off the top, it's fine. No, so we kind of went through different movies over the phone of like what we were gonna show tonight. What with your connection with horror movies, what is it about female horror protagonists, villainesses, anti-heroes? What do you think it is?
I think that for a long time, horror appealed, well, it always has appealed to queer people. Queer people have been part of horror since the beginning of time, right? So, you know, Mary Shelley was queer, you know, she wrote the first horror novel. It's I think part of being other, that we really connect to this genre in a number of ways that maybe mainstream audiences don't. And I think Carrie actually is the most perfect example of a celebration of queer horror because we identify with Carrie both as the victim, the person who's being bullied for not being like the other teenagers, but we also root for her when she's the monster and she takes her revenge. You know, so growing up, it was kind of like I identified with Nancy in A Nightmare on Elm Street, you know, but I also sort of identified with Freddie, you know, in this way that I think other audiences didn't, and especially with strong women, you know. I think, you know, for me, I identified more as a kid with feminine energy. You know, I was a sissy, my friends were all girls, I was told not to be like that, not to hang out with only girls. So in movies, you know, strong women, even if they're killing people, were my favorites.
Strong female characters, Freddy Krueger.
Well, I mean, Freddy Krueger, in many ways,
He's gay.
He's a drag archetype,
Yeah.
right? He has long nails. He wears the same, you know, fabulous outfit. He's very sassy. You know, he can call someone a bitch, like the best drag queen. You know, like welcome to prime time, bitch. It's fierce. You know, he's fierce.
Well, I used to have nightmares about Freddy Krueger when I first started watching like horror movies when I was younger, and like they were kind of fun. Like I never had like a super scary nightmare. It was always, but then like nowadays, now that we know he's gay, he can like come up to me.
I don't think Freddy's gay.
I think so.
Maybe he is. I don't know.
He's got all those bonus holes.
Yeah, yeah.
We watched Dream Warriors last week. No, I mean nowadays, waking up in the middle of the night turns out it's a dream, and then you just hear, "Hey, bitch." So your name, Peaches Christ. Were you religious at all growing up?
Well, I mean, you know, not by choice. You know, like most kids who are, you know, indoctrinated into whatever religion they're raised in. I was raised very Catholic. You know, went to Catholic school. I grew up in Maryland, and I didn't. Oh wow! Hang on, how's it going? I, you know, was a kid who didn't feel like I was like anyone else, right? And so my Catholic upbringing. When you're Catholic and you're a young queer kid, the obvious thing to be drawn to, as many priests and nuns, you know, who were young and queer were drawn to, was respect in your own community by joining the monastery or, you know, becoming part of the church. So when I was in 7th or 8th grade and I realized like, oh, you're not allowed to be gay, like that's a bad thing in this religion. I told my parents I didn't want to be confirmed, and that was kind of scandalous at my school. And I was always that goth, punk rock kind of teenager that was just like pissing everyone off and annoying everyone. And so when I discovered that John Waters existed and he was making movies up the street, at the same time I discovered John Waters and Divine, who were making movies 20 minutes from where I grew up, I also discovered the Rocky Horror Picture Show. And so I feel like those things, coupled with my lifelong love of Elvira, kind of are what gave birth to me becoming Peaches Christ. And so taking the name Christ was kind of a way for me to say like, you use this name to hurt me, you use this name to hurt a lot of my friends, you usurped the power that this name has, so I'm gonna use it to entertain people. And, you know, if it makes people laugh, great. And if it pisses them off, even better.
I love that. Did I tell you I used to be a Church of Christ preacher?
No.
She goes,
Wow.
no.
I love all cults. I mean, I think they should not, exist. But like, whether it's Catholicism or, I don't know. Have you seen the documentary on Om? Have you guys seen that on Netflix? Yeah, that's San Francisco. So whatever the cult is, so Om is orgasmic meditation. It's a cult this woman did in San Francisco like just a few years ago, where she would teach you how to have a 15-minute orgasm. And she got all these tech guys to live in a warehouse and write her enormous checks. And now she's on the run. She's overseas. To me, she's no different than the Mormons or the Catholics. It's all the same.
What I'm getting out of like this whole conversation so far is I need someone with a big check.
I know, don't we all?
And okay, so here's the thing. Statistically, I'm looking at all of you. It's not me. Anyway, what is your favorite horror movie, by the way?
Oh God, my favorite horror movie, it's basically a tie between, because I can't really choose, but A Nightmare on Elm Street, the original, was very formative for me. And also, I just think the Texas Chainsaw Massacre is one of the best, most perfect movies ever made.
That got me through my first breakup was Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I'm being serious. 40th anniversary came out. I was in Walmart drinking from a flask in Longview, Texas. I went home and I watched that on repeat until I was desensitized from everything. It's wonderful. I think we have time for one audience question from one of our VIPs, if y'all have any. Anybody? Sylvia? Do you have a question? I didn't prepare any of you, and that's totally fucking fine. Oh, she's been drinking. Bitch, that's my bitch. I love you, Sylvia.
She said, I've been drinking. Atta ghoul. You go.
Okay, no one before we go on? Anybody? No? Oh, okay. You.
Do you want me to give them a
Yeah, come on. Don't be shy.
Hi, my name is Charlie, but for about 2-ish years I've been on and off again doing drag as Cheyenne.
Fabulous.
I know. And I was wondering if you had any advice on going in the future.
For drag?
Yeah.
Actually, that's a good question these days because it's changing for me, and my perspective has changed. I just turned 50 a few weeks ago, so thank you. So, your ideas about things change, and so my advice today, I have a lot of young people who work with me back home in San Francisco. I have a big haunted attraction, and most of the cast are, trans or queens or, and performers, aspiring performers. And now my advice is so different because after, and I don't mean to sound like a bitter old bitch, but I might. After the huge, massive success of Drag Race and in its popularity, I would say that you have a different challenge. I didn't grow up with Drag Race. We got to be our own weird, fucked up creations. There was no YouTube. There was no one telling us, and we didn't think there was a career potential. No one got into drag when I got into drag because they thought they would make money. We all lost money for years and years. So my advice to you is to do it because you love it, to do it because it brings you joy, to not give up your day job, you know what I mean? Like, don't, because I watch these girls do gig after gig after gig, and they just burn out. But to find the love in expressing your drag persona, the thing that you're unlocking, because drag is powerful. It's not just a costume and a performance. It's about unlocking something that we were bashed for, quite frankly. So enjoy it, love it, and if it turns into something lucrative, great. But if it doesn't, have a blast. Yeah. That's right.
Well, do you have anything else you want to add before we show the movie?
I just want to say thanks for, May for carrying the torch of drag queens hosting cult movies, for doing it in Dallas, Texas. I love it. And just, thanks for having me, Texas. It's been a blast. Thank you.
Everybody, give it up for the wonderful, the incomparable Peaches motherfucking Christ. Make some noise. We're gonna catch our breath. If you want to, to the VIPs if you want to hang out at the up the stairs. We'll have Peaches come up for her meet and greet. And
I'm coming. I'm coming.
God. Just let him in into it.